12 races down, 12 left to go in this incredible season. Welcome along to round 13 of 24 for the Breakout Racing League Tier 2 Championship and the Dutch Grand Prix. Well, we have one more race into the season break, which will come back on January the 9th. But for now, we are in the most densely populated country in Europe by population, the Netherlands, and with a population of 14.47 million people. The grandstands will surely be packed tonight in a country with the lowest altitude average in the world, with the Netherlands only having 30 meters above sea level and the highest point only 233. Let's talk about the circuit then. Built in 1948, Zandvoort has hosted many a Dutch Grand Prix from 1948 to 1985, with Formula One having about a 35-year hiatus from this and a comeback in 2020. Unfortunately, the pandemic had other plans. Well, the newly reconfigured circuit has 14 corners, 10 to the right, and 4 to the left, which makes up the 4.529 kilometer or 2.646 mile circuit. There's 2 DRS zones, one on the run into turn 1 and the other into turn 11. And this increases the average speed, which is 130 miles per hour. And with a top speed of 305 kilometers per hour or 190 miles per hour, this circuit is fast indeed. But one of the major changes to the Zandvoort circuit, which makes it so quick, is the addition of the numerous banked corners, one of them being turn 14. This corner's banked, well, it's around the same of the American Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and because, well, the tires are a necessity. Pirelli have brought the C3, C2, and the C1 tires, with the C3 being the red-wooled soft, the C2 being the yellow-wooled mediums, and the C1 being the white-wooled hard compounded tire, plus the intermediate and full wet tire. If the drivers or conditions do so necessary, call for it. Well, would you look at that? It's pouring down raining, and the full wets are on in qualifying. We'll see how that plays out. But the driver that has the most of the strategy, and we'll see how that plays out as the race. Will it stay dry? Will it go dry? Will it go wet? Will it be a change? We'll have to figure that one out, as, by the way, race starts his flying lap. They'll probably be the one on the top step of the podium, whoever makes the most of that strategy. Let's take a look at the championship then. Like I said, 12 rounds down, 12 more to go. And this man, Wraith, has 6 points to Sweller's team. He needs to catch up. Before that season break, he would like to go and lead the championship like he did a couple of rounds ago. Sweller's team, 194 points to his name. Wraith, 188. Let's see who gets the lead going into the break. Gerbil in third in the Aston Martin, 64 points adrift from the lead, 58 from Wraith. Toneless Death in fourth in the Ferrari, 79 points back from the lead, and 15 points back from Gerbil, but he has a 32-point buffer to Heatwave in the AlphaTauri, who has Mozzie behind him by 3 points. Mozzie up 2 positions from a week ago. Tweak down 1. He is tied on points. No, I'm sorry. No, he's 3 points back from Mozzie, who is actually 5 points ahead of No Limit, who is actually now joined by his teammate in 9th, Silkweaver, in the McLaren up into the top 10. He's not here once again tonight, but he is now moved up 5 positions from the Belgian Grand Prix a week ago. Calzoner sits 5th, 1 point ahead of Chunky Snags in 11th. Let's take a look at the Constructors' Championship then. Alfa Romeo, well, they are having a dominant season so far. 62 points ahead of Red Bull. And let's see what Wraith can do. Almost losing the car as he goes through 13 in the final bank corner. What can he do on these the wet compounded tires? Well, Red Bull has a little bit of work to do as they jump Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. 62 points back. Ferrari now 20 points behind the Red Bull team. Aston Martin 6th, 4th, 162 points to their name, 50 points ahead of McLaren. The Woking team has a little bit of ground to make up, 162 points back from Alfa Romeo. They sit 5th. AlphaTauri 6'6", 83 points to the name, 191 points back from the lead, 29 points back from McLaren. Mercedes sits 7th, 56 points to their name, 27 back of AlphaTauri. Williams, they sit 8th with Haas in 9th, and Alpine with 2 points back in 10th. Now I'm Hank Atchett, joined alongside by Zach DeBeast for the first time this season, so welcome along to the commentary booth. And it's the last race before the break. And obviously this weather is going to be a little bit kind of interesting, especially going to throw a spanner in the works of some of the strategies, especially Tweakings, who's crashed in the exit of turn 14. He's now out of qualifying. Well, what can these strategies do? What do the drivers do? You've already seen through Tier 3, through Tier 4. You obviously raced realistic as well. What do you think these drivers are really going to kind of focus in on and tackle this Dutch Grand Prix, the Zandvoort circuit?
Well, really, in my opinion, these drivers are really going to be tackling on the fact to get through, especially on Friday, through turn 7 and turn 14, because those corners were really the trap zones for these drivers for the Friday races. A lot of DNFs in qualifying and even in the Grand Prix, adding to the fact for at least for qualifying for Tier 2, there has been rain. So my goal would be to navigate through there cleanly, not get any damage or have any incident there. But for rain, there's going to be a whole new challenge. And with the strategy, who really knows? Because if it's going to be dry all the way, I would not be surprised if most of these drivers are on softs or maybe even throw in a gamble on the mediums.
Well, as you were saying that, Groggy Oregano has crashed out of qualifying top of turn 7. He's out, and we've had a little bit of insight. Apparently, we had a little bit of chaos, I could say chaos, a little bit of contact between Walking Chaos and I Am Tweaking. He lost the car and spun into the Ferrari. He's out of qualifying, so maybe we could see a stewards report coming that way. We'll have to figure that one out, but qualifying has already claimed 2 victims, 15 on the grid. Heatwave's on a flying lap, and we still look to the pole position right now. Bart Scherble, a 22.122 provisional pole ahead of Wraith by about 2/10. What can the Canadian do? Ahead of the Red Bull driver, as you see Matt Silva and 4th, as well as team just past his teammate Mozzie in 5th, and 6th the Alfa Romeo. Oh, Heatwave almost lost the car. Did the same thing Groggy did. He kept it out of the barriers, though, in the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, like I said, for especially turn 7 and turn 15, already claiming a victim, and Heatwave almost goes off again, getting on those curves. So at least for the AlphaTauri setup, it does not seem like, at least for now, he's either probably getting the grips with the setup in the wet, or he just does not like the wet here. And he's going to have to adjust very quickly if he wants a good grid slot, because a really good grid slot here for the Grand Prix will be really great, knowing that this track is very difficult at the pass.
Yeah, it is extremely difficult to pass, and overtaking is a necessity, especially if you want to win the Grand Prix. So, well, that's one thing to notice for the last 10 Dutch Grand Prix. Well, all 10 of them has been won from pole. The average pole position, the average race winner qualifying position is about 2.7. Well, that's going to see, will that play a factor in the race tonight? We'll have to see. DeBiz goes to the line. He goes P7, 22.466 in the Haas, was ahead of the Aston Martin, the Master Plane, in 8th.
Yeah, really.
Now.
Oh.
No, go ahead. Have some fun.
Yeah, and so I'll have some fun myself. It seems like these drivers, they're really not having really any difficulty, but they're probably having a little bit of snaps, so it's really great to see how these drivers really settling in with the setup for qualifying. It does not see, at least for now, it does not look like that the rain is calming down. So for now, we will stay on the wets. And the question is, what will the weather be for the race?
That is a huge question indeed, and one big thing to look out for, especially, I said, the numerous bank corners. This one being turn 3, but the puddles, the standing water, it's not necessarily standing water on those corners because obviously the banking, so that puts it down, but it's going to be harder to get back on the throttle, especially through 6 into 7. Let's see. Oh, almost again chaos. This is going to be a trouble spot, this qualifying session. The top of the hill into 7. We saw Groggy crash there. We saw Heatwave go off there. Gerbil is out at turn 14. The provisional pole sitter is out of qualifying already. Wow.
Yeah, just really proving my point, really, with turn 7 and turn 14 being the difficulty sets. So it seems like when you come across that little crescent there coming onto the exit of turn 14, as we actually have the McLaren no limit onto intermediate, so that's going to be really interesting to see where he goes after he completes his lap on the intermediates, if he does do so. And on his out lap, it doesn't look like he's struggling really. It just seems like we're on the crossover, maybe.
It could possibly be the crossover point, and if that's the case, this is going to be detrimental to Botch Gerbil and his chances. Bonzi goes up to P3, by the way, jumps no limit, which he's now splitting both Alfa Romeos, and, well, no limit's not the only one on the intermediate tire. Master Play into the pit lane has bolted on the intermediate tires. Will he come out? We'll have to find out. No limit, and the McLaren is going to start his flying lap in a few moments' time through 14. Once again, a trouble spot. Look at the top of that banked corner. There's no runoff, and it's going to be, well, so far, it's claimed a couple of victims already this qualifying session from that top, that left side of the track, or the right side of the track when he goes on to this flying lap. Now, let's see how he plays out. This intermediate tire. Is this a crossover point?
I mean, we'll see, at least at turn 1, that is a Haas off at turn 7. Once again, seems like turn 7 and turn 14, like always, being a trouble spot. But for no limit, at least going through sector 1, he does not look like he's having any difficulty, or I seem to say that. He gets a little snap of oversteer coming on turn 3, maybe get on the power a little bit too early. Seems like he's sliding through that little straight, and he's actually 2/10 down on his time, so maybe it's not actually a crossover point yet, but we're indeed getting close to it.
Chucky Snags also put on the intermediate tire, so it's getting closer. Maybe not so, I guess, not that right moment yet, but No Limit is giving it a go regardless. Yellow flag through turn 14. That is a red car. Is that Swellerstein? No, it's not. It's going to be, I believe, a car letting another one through. It may have been Toneless Death. He is coming a little bit, actually going up to speed. And it turned 167 miles per hour into the braking zone. So he may have had a little bit of an issue at the exit of turn 14. Indeed, 8 minutes left to go. Still a lot of time for drivers to get their laps in, and a lot of them are choosing the intermediate tires. Add Radicus to the list. Both Williams looking for that intermediate tire, and hopefully it is the crossover point for them, as No Limit is going to cross the line shortly. It's going through 14 now. Will he go on another lap, or will he improve on this one? We'll find out
Barely.
We'll go for another one.
Barely. So it does seem like that the intermediates are really starting to come in, especially in the second half of that lap, knowing that he was 2.5 tenths down on his lap time. So maybe he has to do a little bit more laps here. If you look on the left side, hide hand of your screen. I just had a little stroke right there. My apologies. But you see that all the drivers on the wets, at least majority of them, they've done 4 laps, 2 laps, 5 laps, 4 laps. So it seems like if you want to get a quick lap time here, these up front guys, you're going to have to do consistent laps on the wet compound or inter-compound like your no limit.
Well, there's more drivers adding to that list of intermediate tires. Add Matt Silva, TTM Heatwave to that list as well. Both Williams are going to be on an outlap shortly as well. They're going through, I believe, into 7 and into 10 in a few moments' time, respectively, for both Williams drivers. Tone Lesteth pitting in P12. The Ferrari right now trying to get into the top 10. And he's going to have a lot to do it. Purple Sector 2 for No Limit. Is this the time?
Well, going through turn 11 and 12, it seems like he got in the brakes a little bit too deep, so that's going to hamper his lap time a little bit. Going through 13, it looks clean, but going through 14, the trouble spot here, seems like the car is sliding around there, but No Limit is able to keep the car on the tarmac and not able to cause any damage. And he actually goes P2 with a 21-1, still behind Botch Durable. But there's no question now. The Inters are the preferred compound tire now.
Yes, it did, especially with that mistake, especially through turn 11. That was only 54 milliseconds that separated Noma from Botch Gerbil. So what does these laps hold? Chunky Snack's going to be the first one on a flying lap behind No Limit in the McLaren. He's going through turn 3 now. His teammate Reddick has just started a flying lap. He's into turn 1.
Yeah, I'm on board with really these 3 drivers here on their laps. It seems like the rain has actually... Oh, Chunky Snags almost loses it going into 7. Seems like the top of the hill is just where you lose all the traction, so you got to be careful through there. But like I was saying, on board with all 3 of these guys, it doesn't look like he was struggling at all. And I'm seeing that the puddles are actually starting to go off the race line a bit, and I am indeed starting to see a little dry line. But it's not much, but it's still there nonetheless.
It is indeed, and that could definitely put a lot of drivers on the intermediates. So far, everyone has selected the intermediate tire, except for DeBiz down in 8th. And obviously the drivers who have crashed out of qualifying, those being Tweaking, Groggy Oregano, and Botch Gerbil, those 3 so far. But No Limit's going through turn 14. Will he actually improve that time? We'll have to figure out, because he's gone for another one, I think. Looks like he is. Going to the line he goes. He was 54 milliseconds off the last time. He goes pole by 4 tenths this time. The McLaren sits provisionally on pole. Can Chunky Snags dethrone the McLaren? Can he put one British team ahead of the other? No, he goes P6 ahead of Twillis team in the Alfa Romeo, but his teammate Radicus is going to come across the line in a few short moments through turn 13, now into 14. The other Williams, can he go and better? Chunky Snags in 6th position. He's about a second off a pole. Well, can he go better himself? Radicus through 14th so far. He's up to 12th.
Yeah, so it seems like really if you're going to put in the fastest lap, like I said a couple minutes ago, you're going to have to do around 2 to 5 laps on the inters now, really. So it seems like the guys, like, especially just everyone now, this is where Botch Gerbil just shakes his head in agony knowing that he's probably going to be going down on the grid knowing that it's inters now.
Luckily for him, he will have to start. Actually, there's no chance of him having to start on these tires because, I mean, unless it's a wet race, I mean, even then, he gets a fresh choice of tire. So no matter what happens, what the weather foretells for the race for the Dutch Grand Prix, he gets a free choice of tire. So even if he starts 1st or 15th, he is hopefully starting in the top 10. For him, he really wishes he could stay 2nd.
Yeah, really. I've been in that situation before in Season 5. I believe that was Yellow Flag, probably just the Red Bull or Wraith, or maybe the Haas of Walking Chaos just slowing up, as that is another yellow flag for the Haas letting through an Alfa Romeo. I'm not sure who it is, but still, nonetheless, wish that he was able to stay on the front row of the grid.
Right now, he is on the front row, and he's going to wish he could try to stay there. He's had a couple of races where he's either not shown up or had a little bit of a poor showing. What could have been, especially Hungary, that's a big race what to think back on. Well, could he have caught in Walking Chaos? Well, we'll have to figure out. Can he do it again? Walking Chaos had a little bit of struggle so far. He's right now in 5th position. The Haas is going to wish to better that. He's going into, I believe, turn 2 and 3 now. But we're on board with Heatwave in the Alpha Tauri, Purple Sector 2. Mozzie goes P2, about a 10th off of No Limit in the McLaren, but 1 4.5 tenths off. But what can this AlphaTauri do? He went purple to the second sector. A Haas in front of him, I believe, is getting off and trying to, I believe, start a flying lap, that being DeBiz. But going through turn 14, almost loses the car. The trouble zone, like we talked about already, has claimed a lot of drivers off. And can he go provisional pole? He's 10th already. Heat wave 2 seconds off a pole. He goes up to 8th. That definitely gained a lot of time for him, but he needs to try to get some more. Behind him is going to be an Alpine, I believe, Matt Silva. He's going to start a flying lap in the Alpine. Yes, he is. What can he do? He's hitting 9th.
Well, the driver...
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
Heatwave has disqualified from session. He spun in the exit of turn 1 and blocked the pit lane exit. We saw a disqualification already from him this season when he overtook the safety car in Austria. Well, this is going to be detrimental to his race because now he's going to start 15th.
Well, anyway, back to the point. My driver I'm looking out for right now is the Red Bull of Wraith. He's actually coming across the stripe now, which is pole for 20.4, set purple in all 3 sectors. So it seems like he's going to be the driver to beat, at least in this intermediate condition.
Well, let's see. Does anyone can dethrone him? It's going to be the drivers behind him. Spoilers team looking at him, walking chaos. He was quick a couple of races ago. He's got pole both races he started in. Can he do it a third time in the intermediate conditions here in Zandvoort? We'll have to figure that one out as it plays on. 1 minute and 45 seconds left to go in qualifying for the Dutch Grand Prix of round 13 of the Breakout Racing League Tier 2 Championship. It's all to play for. Spoilers team goes provisional pole by 95 milliseconds.
Yeah, so it seems like the track is gripping up really for the intermediates, like I say, and you're just going to probably have to do consistent laps on the same compound that you did your quicker lap on, so that way you can get quicker and quicker. I would not be surprised if one of these drivers crack into the 19s.
Like him, Matt Silva just does exactly what you just said. He's now provisional pole by 4/10 of a second. That's a comedic timing.
Yeah, it really is. Happens all the time.
Master Plane going to the line in the Aston Martin. What can he do? He's across the line, goes P7, pretty much where his teammate is. In front of him, P6. Boss Scherble, like you said earlier, just kind of now slipping down the grid, especially because of those wet compounded tires compared to everyone else's intermediate tires. And Chunky Snags actually goes to 6th, dropping him down to 7th.
Yeah, really, but at least...
Good Wraith.
Yeah, Rafe goes in P2 actually for 19.9 as well. That's 2 drivers now. That's 3 actually, never mind. Walking Chaos with 19.9 is that, I believe, was a half spin. I was not able to see it. You can correct me. But anyway, at least in my opinion, qualifying does not matter. Looking at the stat sheet, actually now, according to the statistics, the driver with the best average race position is Solar's team with 3rd place. So he's going to be at least the driver to look out for in this Grand Prix.
It's going to be difficult to overtake, but it's definitely possible. And there's a lot of chances for him to do it. But 11 milliseconds separates Chaos from Matt Silva. He's going across the line in a few seconds' time. Can he improve on that lap? Qualifying is about to be done. No limits out, I believe.
Turn 14.
Turn 14. Yes, he is. Checkered flag flies. Matt Silva goes faster by about 4/10. A 19.5 for the Alpine. Can anyone beat him and dethrone him? Qualifying is done. Checkered flag flies, and it's time to go for these drivers to improve on their lap time. Next one is going to be Master Plane in the Aston Martin. Can he improve from 9th? He's going across the line backwards, so that's definitely a no for him. He will stay 9th provisionally. Mozzie, he's going across the line in a few seconds' time in the 2nd sector. Sweller's team, he's going through turn 10 into 11 in a few seconds' time. Walking Chaos, he's going to go across the line shortly. Wraith goes provisional pole by 3 milliseconds. The Red Bull ahead of the Alpine. Here comes Walking Chaos. He's had 2 straight poles. Can he make it a 3rd? No, he cannot. He sits a 10th and a half off of pole, but here comes the Alfa Romeo Mozzie around turn 14. Can he improve in the Alfa Romeo? They are leading constructors by about 62 points. Can they have a better shot to increase that gap in the break? No, Mozzie stays 4th. Well, the same as teammate behind him, though. Championship leader by 6 points. His championship rivals on pole. Can he get ahead of him? He cannot, but he's 3 milliseconds. Matt Silva and Sweller's team set the exact same lap time. And DeBiz is the last one to qualify for the Dutch Grand Prix. Where does that put him? He's invalidated.
Yeah, really, that's very entertaining qualifying. I'd like to say also as well as that Walking Chaos on the front straight actually ran out of fuel like halfway to the start-finish line, which is really unfortunate for him because I believe if he didn't run out of fuel, that would have been pole position.
Well, one man's, I guess, that was definitely something that could have happened. What could have happened if Chaos didn't run out of gas? Could have been a 3 for 3. Regardless, Wraith takes pole for the Dutch Grand Prix by 4 milliseconds from not 1, but 2 drivers, Willis team and Matt Silva, both tied their lap time. Not sure why Matt Silva didn't get the nod, but Sweller's team second, Matt Silva third. We're going to have a championship rival front row who gets into turn 1 first. Matt Silva third, Chaos fourth, Mozzie, Chunky Snags fifth, sixth, No Limit seventh, Bosch Gerbil eighth, Radicus ninth, Master Plane 10th. Bosch Gerbil does start inside the top 10. DeBiz, Toneless, Groggy, Heatwave, and Tweaking, not in that order, are outside the top 10. And everyone will get a free choice attire for the Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah, really, this is going to be a very entertaining race, to say the least. Well, your main goal really now is to be the first driver in the turn 1. You know from experience last night, you were actually going 3 wide in the turn 1. You know from first-hand experience, how do you do it?
It's going to be about the start. Get the best start, and it is dry, so that's going to be crucial now, is the strategy as well. But if you're going to start on the right tire, you need to get a good start, no wheel spin, and you need to stay clean through turn 1 through to Tarzan, the first corner at the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort, second part Zandvoort. Right now, everyone has a free choice of tire. All 15 drivers from first down to 15th. Heatwave's chosen the medium so far. Everyone else is on soft. Chaos has chosen medium. It is an easy soft to medium or medium to soft. Sometimes the hards could be used. Could they be used so far tonight? Doesn't look like it. DeBiz and the other Haas, medium. So far, Haas has chose the medium compounded tire. Same with Heatwave. Everyone else has chose the soft compounded tire, but they have free choice of tire for the Grand Prix. What do you think you should choose?
At least in my opinion, you should do softs, because knowing the fact that, at least according to Thursday and Friday, there's at least been 2 safety cars. So if you choose the softs early to start, you're probably going to have the upper hand advantage, at least in my opinion. But it's not. But here's the problem. This isn't tier 3, tier 4, or realistic tier. This is tier 2. Anything can change.
That is definitely true. Remember, a season ago, let's talk about our previous winner here, as we see the drivers now going to choose their tires for the Dutch Grand Prix for Season 7. It's going to be fun because a season ago, Season 6, we had the infamous finish that was honestly one for the record books, not only in Tier 2, but from the Breakout Racing League itself. 64 milliseconds separated the Mercedes of PSR Luis from BRL Ritzy. The Mercedes get the nod ahead of the Red Bull. Could we see a Red Bull victory, or will we have another heartbreak for the Milton Keynes team? But it's going to be Wraith ahead of Sweller's team. 2 drivers already disqualified. That's Chunky Snacks and No Limit. We'll see how that plays out, because those drivers will have cold tires on the grid. They will have to sit and wait as everyone else completes the lap around the Circuit Park Zandvoort. But remember, like I said last season, it can be crucial to time the safety car. If you get the strategy right, it could work out. That's what happened with Ritzy. He decided to pit with the soft compounded tires with 5 laps to go. Luis stayed out on the mediums, and Louis was able to hold Ritzy at bay and keep him behind by 64 milliseconds. The Merc got the advantage. But one thing to not worry about is track limits. A season ago, only 25% of the grid had penalties who finished. Those being 12 drivers, only 3 of them had penalties. And that is a huge step down from a week ago at Belgium, where we had 76% of the grid have a time penalty. So track limits, not that big of a factor for the Dutch Grand Prix, but it's all to play for. Going into the break, Wraith behind Sweller's team by 6 points in the championship, but he's ahead on track. Who do you got?
At least in my opinion, I got Rafe taking the victory home. At least now, unless I'm not sure, I haven't kept up to date with the stewards. But according to track, Rafe actually won this race in realistic here in the Red Bull. I believe he's going to be able to take the victory home. I believe P2 will actually be the Haas of Walking Chaos, and P3 will be the Aston Martin of Bosch Gerbil.
I hope for Gerbil, but he definitely will try and deliver. Gerbil, the Canadian, looking for a good result after the last couple of ones slipping from his grasp, him not showing up at Belgium, and him got oh so close to the victory at Budapest. But the drivers now come to the line. Heatwave will pull up his Alpha Tauri into the 15th grid spot, and we look from the back to the front. There's the pit stop strategy once again: soft to hard, medium to hard, or you can do a soft to medium, or vice versa. It's all to play for. The break is all in the corner. The drivers are ready to go. 36 laps of the Dutch Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go. A very tentative start. Who gets into turn 1 first? He's going to cover off Sweller's team. He gets a great start. The Red Bull ahead of the Alfa Romeo. No 3 wide in the turn 1 this time. There's 3 wide a little bit at the back. Wraith ahead of Sweller, ahead of Matt, ahead of Walking Chaos. Mozzie past Gerbil. Gerbil's down to 6th. Side by side in the turn 2. Oh, a little bit of contact between the Williams and the McLaren. But the McLaren gets ahead. DeBiz running wide. That's going to be off the track and around. Chucky snags the Williams. He's down to 15th already. Gerbil past Walking Chaos. Up to 4th, the Aston Martin already. Matt Silva chasing down. He's on the soft compound tire. Look at Sweller's team looking for the movement to turn 7. But it's been a chaotic but a simple start. No one has crashed out so far at the Dutch Grand Prix. 35 laps more to go once we cross the stripe.
Yeah, a very less chaotic start compared to Friday, to say the least, but still, nonetheless, there was a wheel trick snags off his eye. They were actually 5 wide at one point going into turn 1, but thankfully they were all able to sort it all out. I was expecting some sort of a spin in turn 1, but glad to see that there wasn't, but everyone separating 5 tenths, 4 tenths, 3 tenths around, so it seems like all these drivers are very close to each other, at least when it comes to one-lap pace.
Right now, a lot of the drivers have chosen the soft compounded tires, those being the C3 tires, which actually would have been the hard compounded tire at a couple of tracks ago when we had the C5, C4, C3. But who gets to turn 1 this time? Ray trying to break the slipstream. He grabs the fastest lap, the first one done. 35 more to go. Sweller a little bit too far back this time, but Matt Silva is the only one in the top 5 on the soft compounded tire. And as Radicus, the Williams, has pitted, Chunky Snags, the other Williams, gets past him for 14th. How fast does Matt Silva want to get past the 2 drivers in front of him, both on the medium tire? Well, it's going to be all to play for, but you got to be patient. How long are you going to wait?
At least if I'm not Silva in the situation, you can't really, knowing that you have this advantage now, and it's not going to take long until the mediums get the advantage, knowing that especially the left-hand side of your tires will start overheating. As Rastis say that, Matt Silva's looking for a move on Sweller's team going into turn 10. He's on the outside, Sweller defending the inside and hits apex and is able to stay ahead of Matt Silva. But the Aston Martin, a botched gerbil, he's blocking. Matt Silva late the fence. He dives it a little bit more than the Aston Martin botched gerbil. As you can tell, patience is not for Matt Silva right now.
No, he's not, but he knows he has to go, because that's one thing. He does not want to let Wraith and Sweller's team get too far in front, because they have the alternate strategy. The mediums, they will have this little bit of a less of a pace advantage right now. No limit past Mozzie, battle for 6th, but they will be on the soft compounded tire later on, which could definitely hurt Matt Silva, especially in his quest. Wraith goes the fastest lap at the Grand Prix already, 13.7 DRS. The drag reduction system, there you go, is enabled this time, which means that little flap in the rear wing, as Matt Silva goes a little bit wide through 2. Gerber on the outside. They're going to go wheel to wheel through the bank corner of turn 3, and better traction for the Aston Martin. A little bit of contact, wheel banging going down the straight into turn 4. Oh, Matt Silva's around, and it's happened already. Contact between the Aston Martin and the Alpine. Around he goes. I believe he's out of the barriers, and he does not have damage that I can see. But that patience, it ran out.
Yeah, patience ran out, and you saw the consequences from having no patience, especially early in the race. Keeping your nose in the battles that you really shouldn't, especially when it's lap 3 out of 36. And you saw the result from it. Matt Silva is around, and now he has a disadvantage. Battle for P10 between Masterplane and Heatwave, and Heatwave's able to get through Masterplane.
That's going to be something to look out for, is can Matt Silva recover from that Grand Prix, especially across this. 34 laps to go. 33 this time by, as we're going to cross the stripe momentarily, but Sweller's team's going to have the DRS. The drag reduction system is enabled. He's going to grab the fastest lap. Gerbil's going to steal it from him, but there's a DRS stream forming. Wraith goes defensive through 1. Yellow flag through 14. I believe is that a Ferrari around that's going to be tweaking in the other Ferrari. Toneless gets past him for 11th. But look at this. The battle between Wraith and Sweller's team kicking off already. Chunky Snags past Matt Silva. Battle for 13th. Matt's going to have a lot of work to do.
Oh, there's a battle for P1 right now. Rafe got a little snap of oversteer. It seemed like Sweller was like peeking to let him know, hey, I'm there. If you make another mistake, I am taking advantage of that. But still, nonetheless, very tight between the top 5.
Oh, no!
Around.
It has happened at a little bit later than we thought, but turn 7 we said was a trouble spot, and has claimed Wraith's race already. It's lap 4. Wraith's going to have a lot of work to do from 12th already. He's going to have overheated tires. He's going to have to fight back. Sweller's team now has the lead from Gerbil, from Chaos. Both have the DRS. No limits with them. Mozzie to 5th. The Biz 6th. Groggy 7th. He's doing a great run in the Alpine. A Heatwave up to 8th. Masterplane in 9th. And Toneless up to 10th. But Wraith is going to have a lot of work to do from 12th.
Yeah, really, but now that puts Sweller's team in the catbird seat, knowing that he does not have any DRS and everyone behind him does. So now he's going to have to dump that battery, especially knowing, well, he doesn't know, but Bush Gerbil's at 30%. Will he look for a dive? No, he does not. We have completed 4 laps and we're working on lap 5 now, but it does seem like the battle for the lead is really heating up, especially that it's in the early stages.
Yep, and now everyone in the top 3 are on the medium compounded tire, which means no limit. Mozzie, Debiz, Groggy, those especially from 4th to 7th, they need to go. They want to go now, because these guys in front of them, they're going to do an alternate strategy. So far, no safety cars, and that's going to be beneficial to these guys on the medium compounded tire. Sweller leading the way. Botch Gerbil pushing him almost through 7. it's going to be very difficult to keep him at bay, especially through into the DRS of turn 11. Well, let's see how it turns out through 10, because Walking Chaos is right behind the Aston Martin too. He's not going to let it go, and Bosch Durable knows all about that Haas, especially from Budapest a couple of rounds ago. Can he stay ahead this time?
Yes, he will, but something we haven't talked about really through Friday is I didn't mention is that dirty air through Sector 2 is just really deadly in my opinion. So if you're going to have to make a move, it's going to be on the main straight, and even then, it's not going to be that easy knowing that the straight isn't as really long as you want it to be when you want it to be an overtaking zone, as we'll see if Bosch Turbo will look for a move. He does have the overspeed. Swaller's going to choose the inside. He'll let Bosch Turbo on the outside. We'll slow steam defend it. He does. Oh, he gets a little bit of understeer, and now that allows Bosch Durable Aston Martin to take the lead. The Netherlands Grand Prix is a little battle for P6 between Groggy and the business. Groggy's left hand side of the car was actually on the gravel for a moment, so it seems like there's a whole bunch of battles going on for the lead and in the mid pack.
Bosch Durable has not won since the French Grand Prix, but he's been close. Yellow flag to the final corner. Radicus is around. He's in the gravel, and the banked gravel, I guess you could say, at turn 13. He's going to have to get back on track. Thankfully, no damage to him and no safety cars so far being deployed. But remember, he led the Budapest Grand Prix and Hungary a couple of rounds to go. Durable did. Well, now he has about, 31 more laps to hold. It's still a long way to go. Can he do it this time? Slowest team going to be the Biz losing position to Heatwave. Battle for 7th. Almost contact. That was almost going to be detrimental to the Alpha Tauris. Oh, there goes Master Plane.
No front wing whatsoever for the Aston Martin of Master Plane, but ever since Bosch Durable really has gotten around Swaller's team, he's been taking off like a rocket, you could say. Already 7/10, so it does seem like that Bosch Durable has the pace advantage over the rest of the field. But that DRS is going to keep them.
Confirms it.
Yeah,
it's going to keep him indeed. Matt Silva, 3-second time penalty, the first one of the bunch and the first one of the race. 30 laps to go. Bosch Durable has about 5/10 advantage, but he has to worry about not one, but two cars. Gargi Oregano around at turn 1. No, he's not. Yellow flag, I'm sorry, that's going to be Master Plane. Gargi Oregano lost the position to Heatwave, that's what was more clarified.
Yeah, as I'm actually on board with Tweaking right now. He's all over the rear gearbox of the Biz, so that'll be about a lookout for. As Walking Chaos is almost pushing Swaller's team on how Bosch Durable was a couple laps ago before he was able to get around. So it seems like Swaller's pace is really falling off here. As Tweaking and the Biz, is the Biz actually around? Yes, it is. Turn 7 once again is claiming another victim, as Mozzie and No Limit are starting to have a battle themselves. Oh!
He's into the barriers again. He was off into the gravel and then into the barriers, and now has no front wing. For a second there, I thought he was going to be out of the Grand Prix. Well, the Haas is going to be trying to limp to the pit lane, but his teammate, Walking Chaos, is going to have a good shot. At Sweller's team, he's closer to the Alfa Romeo than the Alfa Romeo is to the Aston Martin, but is going to have a run. Not this time.
No, it seems like as long as Sweller's team is able to stay in that DRS, he'll be fine for the time being. But now, I would say the pit window for the soft owners would open at around lap 13. So we're over halfway, really, for the stop stint for these guys, as Master Plane is actually was in the pit lane for the hard compound tire. So we have seen the hards already being used.
Yep, Pirelli says that the soft compounded tires can go about 17 laps, 24 for both the C2 and the C1, the mediums and the hards. We'll see who takes advantage of what. The hards on Master Plane to Biz could go to the hard compounded tire, but he could try to stretch the mediums as well. What does the Haas go to? Softs. Oh, yellow flag.
That's tweaking.
Tweaking around.
Turn 7 once again.
Wow. He's into the barrier. We'll spin back around. Does he have damage? Doesn't look like it from this angle. Not that I can see. That's going to be another driver. Actually, he does have no left front end plate, so he does have some damage to the Ferrari. That's going to be detrimental, especially because the downforce required at the Circuit Park Zandvoort is incredible. So they're going to need to go and repair that in the Ferrari pit lane. So that's going to put him out of the top 10. Toneless is going to be the only Ferrari
P2.
up there. That puts Wraith
P2.
up to 9th, and that's going to be a battle for 2nd. Chaos trying to go around the outside of Sweller. Still there. A little bit of
Oh, that's contact!
Oh!
Oh, no!
Oh, and around they go! Sweller, it happened to Wraith earlier on. Now Sweller's around, this time at the hands of Walking Chaos. A little bit of contact between the two into turn 3.
That will not be
Is there damage?
I would hope not. I did not see any when he went around. It seemed like that neither of them were willing to back out. And naturally, going into turn 2 and going into turn 3, it's known really that 2 cars can't fit into a one-man corner. And it seemed like that Sweller was the one that paid the price for it.
That is definitely true. Could we see a steward's inquiry coming the way of this man in the Haas walking chaos post-race? We'll have to find out, and we'll let you know as soon as we are alone about that. Well, that now puts Turbo about 3 seconds ahead, about 2.8 to be clarified, above the Haas of walking chaos. But look at the gap between chaos and No Limit, 3.5 seconds. No one in the top 5 are going to have DRS on each other. Actually, the top 7 don't have DRS. Toneless Death, and the Ferrari is the first one that does an 8th. And he has Wraith on his tail.
Yeah, so really a driver that this benefits most really is the Red Bull of Wraith, knowing that Sweller's team is his championship rival, as Toneless may know he does not actually. He does not look for a move on Groggy going into turn 1. So it seems like the gap won't be as big, but still nonetheless it will grow as long as they stand as it is right now.
Yeah, right now, Sweller's team will have 10 points to his name and only 2 for Wraith. That would be about an 8-point advantage towards the Alfa Romeo, meaning the championship will swing, I believe, 14 points ahead. Yes, that will be in going into the break. So that's going to be a little bit of a gap for Wraith to catch up to, but there's still a long way to go. 9 laps down. We're now working lap 10. 27 still to go. Wraith is all over the back of the Ferrari of Toneless, and he's not too close to Groggy himself. Yellow flag through turn 7. I believe that is Matt Silva around. But down the inside of turn 10 is going to be the Red Bull of Wraith. He gets past Toneless before the DRS even operates. But can he hold on this time? Yes, he does. As Matt Silva actually, I believe, overtakes Chucky Snags. It was him around at turn 7, not the Alpine. Yeah,
back going on the Red Bull of Wraith, that actually brings up, I believe that is 3 or is it 4? I'm not sure. But nonetheless, still more points to his name, which will decrease the championship gap. And he's actually probably will get around Groggy on the main straight as he's using the battery. Groggy is as well, but still, the overspeed for Wraith will be too much for Groggy. And now Wraith has to set his sights on Heatwave, even if he has a chance at Sweller's team.
Let's see if he has that potential to go catch up to P5 and Sweller's team as championship rival. But Mozzie is extremely close. He's closed down that DRS gap from over a second and a half to No Limit. And the McLaren, because the Alfa Romeo is almost there. That's yellow flag through, I believe that being, not sure who that is. That may actually be Radicus. Yellow flag, that's Heatwave. Heatwave at turn 7. The Alpha Tauri's around. Is he in the barriers? No, he's not. No damage to the Alpha Tauri. But that's another one that's taken effect at turn 7.
Another one bites the dust, really, as that actually helps Wraith once again. It seems like Wraith's fortune has actually been flipped on its head, going from bad luck spinning around to turn 7, and now turn 7 in its own is helping Wraith out and is spinning out multiple guys. As I actually had a little bit of misfortune in turn 7 myself, it seems like there's little to no grip through there, and it seems like people are putting the power down too early.
We'll see. Does the power work for the Alfa Romeo on the McLaren of No Limit? Just too far back this time into turn 1. No Limit will hold that position, but Mozzie is eager to get past into the podium places. Remember, he got a podium, I believe it was it a week ago, or was it 2 weeks ago? It was a week ago. Yes, I was right. It was the first one of the season. He wants a second one when he has a little bit of work to do. Obviously, he's sitting P4 right now, and he is on those soft compounded tires. Those mediums will have to go, roughly around 20 laps, depending on when he stops. When is that? We'll have to find out. We're on lap 12 of 36. We could see the soft runners in around 5 laps time at the maximum.
Yeah, so it seems like around this time, really, when it comes to the soft runner, it seems like the tires are really starting to overheat, especially going through turn 7 and turn 14. So I would not be surprised if we still see any more victims. As for the battle for P3 between No Limit and Mozzie, it seems like No Limit has been defending greatly. Is that actually a Haas is around? I believe that is the Biz. Yes, it is. But still, the battle for P3 is still heating up, and it's getting closer and closer by the lap.
Yes, it is. The Biz has no front wing, is actually off the track at this time, letting Tweaking by into turn 3. We'll see how this plays out once again. Mozzie has the battery, he has the DRS, but he's about 5/10 back from the McLaren. He's just not close enough once again. But just kind of peeking for that. Oh, he's really late on the brakes for the Alfa Romeo, almost into the back of the McLaren. He was eager for that move, just couldn't get it this time, and Groggy is in.
The first soft runners begin, so right on the money, at least for my soft runners to start coming into the pit lane, as Mozzie's actually 3/10 behind. He got a little bit of a tank slopper coming out of turn 3. So it seems like the exit of turn 3, turn 7, turn 14 are going to be the corners to look out for when your tires are in its grinding stage.
Well, right now, the hard compounded tire on for the Alpine. Is that going to put in a little bit of a wave of an undercut? Well, he actually gets ahead of Matt Silva, his teammate, both on the hard compounded tires and both in the Alpine. But is that going to put an undercut going on for guys like Mozzie, like No Limit, who can pit first? This is when you pit before the guy you're racing and use the fresh rubber and hopefully grab some clean air to go and overtake him. Radicus overtakes the Biz as I say that, so speaking of overtaking.
Yeah, really, it's been more overtaking than I thought it would be for Tier 2, but still, nonetheless, great racing. Is that actually a Haas of the Biz off once again, probably trying to let his teammate through? Is that actually walking cows? Maybe, no, it's not. But still, I believe the battle for Mozzie. Oh, actually, never mind. He faked me out there. I thought he was coming into the pit lane, but still, nonetheless, too far back to make a dive. It seems like No Limit's dirty air is kicking in for Mozzie too late.
Usually, you know, the dummy move works on the driver. I've never seen it work on the commentator before, so strike that one for there. Mozzie on 13 lap hold at softs. No Limit on the same compounded tire. Everyone on about 13 of the top 7. Who will strike first? Matt Silva gets past Groggy Oregano. Actually, I believe Groggy Oregano's around. Turn 7. I'm sorry, turn 14. Does he have wing damage in the Alpine? Doesn't look like it. He stays out. He gets overtaken by Chunky Snacks, though, who's yet to pit as well.
Yeah, we haven't seen turn 14 strike in the Grand Prix more than turn 7, but still, there's probably the first victim, I believe. Actually, no, it's not. Tweaking was, I believe. You have to fact check me on that. But anyway, the battle for P3, I'm just watching this P3 battle, really. It seems like that No Limit is a slower car compared to Mozzie, but Mozzie has setup really based when it comes to being in clean air. Every time he gets close to No Limit, he just falls back like a rock, as No Limit got a bit of oversteer coming out of turn 12 going into 13.
Yellow flag, that's going to be an Alpine going through turn 7. I believe that was Groggy Oregano.
Mozzie's in!
This time, Mozzie does come in this time.
I was scared if he was going to fake me out there, but thankfully he didn't. And I believe that is mediums. Yes, it is. So he's the first soft rudder to go in for the mediums.
Yes, he is, and it was Groggy Oregano at turn 7. The Alpine not having the best of days so far. He was running pretty well in the top 10. He's now sitting P12 as he's been overtaken. Yellow flag, by the way, was that for an Aston Martin or for the Alpine? Not actually sure. Master Plan in 13th. Boss Gerbil still leading by 3.6 seconds over Walking Chaos in the Haas. The pit stops are going to be on shortly. Mozzie pitting for fresh mediums. When does No Limit come in, and when do we see these medium runners in for their first stop of the day?
Oh, that's the bit is out, actually. Is that? I'm not sure.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that's the safety car. Oh, that helps Mozzie out significantly.
Well, that's going to help out a lot of these guys, except for maybe, I guess, No Limit. Actually, could actually benefit from this as well. But these guys on the medium compounded tire will have to go in. And look at this, a double stack for Aston Martin. This could be costly for Boss Gerbil. Walking Chaos stays out. Gerbil's going to pit for the hard compounded tire. No Limit's going to come in. He may go for medium. Swellersteam's going to come in. Wraith is going to come in. Toneless Death. Does he come in as well in the Ferrari? He does. So everyone has pitted so far in the top 7 except for Walking Chaos.
Wow. So it seemed Wraith is on the softs, actually.
The softs, I think, theoretically could be stretched that long, and he gets ahead of Mozzie crucially for the Red Bull.
No, he doesn't.
No, he
doesn't.
can't.
Oh, he actually.
Wow,
oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It was Mozzie.
I know he didn't.
It was Mozzie.
Mozzie gets ahead of Wraith. That's going to be crucial for the Alfa Romeo, and because that's going to be a buffer to Sweller.
Well, as I actually mixed up my words there, I meant to say that it actually benefited No Limit. It's just, oh, that's a 5-second for Walking Chaos between himself and Radicus. I'm hoping that he does not have any wing damage. He does not, at least virtually. So that is good to see, but still, nonetheless, going to be very costly for the Haas Walking Chaos. As back to my,
especially because he has to pit.
Yes, he does. He has to serve that 5-second. But like I was gonna say, it's been a mixed bag, really. Dutch Gerbil, hard, Swellersteam, hards, Toneless on hards, and we have Red Bull of Wraith, Heatwave, and Chunky on the softs, and everyone else is on the mediums, and we have the Haas Walking Cast on used mediums. And speaking of the used mediums, he's in.
Yeah, this is going to be completely detrimental to his race because now he has to serve that 5-second time penalty that he got for a collision with Radicus. In front of him, he actually comes in, I believe, for a front wing change. So was there contact between him and the safety car? That will be a story to tell. So Wraith is going to get ahead of Chaos, and Chaos maybe get behind Toneless, maybe even Heatwave. Yes, he will. Actually, no, not Heatwave, but he will definitely get behind Toneless Death in the Ferrari. So 7th for Chaos, 5th for Wraith. These soft runners are going to be on a charge when the safety car comes in. Gerbil may be a sitting duck here.
Yeah, but once again, you have the Alfa Romeo of Swoller also on the hard, so it does seem like these hard runners are definitely going to be struggling on the short run, but on the long run, that's when their hards are going to come into play.
Well, the hards can definitely go about 24 laps, so they will easily make it to the end of the Grand Prix. 17 for the soft compound of tire, which is about, we're working lap 17, sorry. We've completed 16, meaning we'll have 20 laps. So the softs can theoretically go to around 22, but it's going to be difficult. Who can have the tire preserving? Who can save their tire life? We know Chunky Snacks can. Well, how can the rest of the drivers do it?
Well, really, it's going to be down to aggression, at least in my opinion. If you're going to be the less aggressive, that means you're looking for the long game. But if you're going to be more aggressive, that means you're probably thinking that the dirty air will probably affect the tires too much, which I doubt, or they just believe that being in the lead will help benefit them. But with the drag reduction system, who knows who's going to be in the lead at the end of this Grand Prix?
The drag reduction system is definitely going to be a crucial part because remember, actually, we both can probably say something on this. From the Tier 3 race about yesterday, especially on older mediums, Kieran Evans was able to defend from myself and a couple of other drivers, even with the DRS, for about 2, 3, 4 laps. So it may not be as simple as he's on the softs. He can get past the driver on a medium or a hard compounded tire. Especially with DRS, it's not that easy. Because now we're going to have around 20 or so laps to go. The time is now going to be on. So the Aston Martin almost formation going through turn 3, by the way. The Aston Martin safety car and Bosch Turbo in the Aston Martin. But as the time is on for these drivers to either get aggressive or they're going to have to stay and be patient. That's going to be the big story. Who's patient? Who's aggressive? Who makes it to the end of the Grand Prix? Who wins it?
Honestly, it's down to whoever played the strategy right. I know the guys on the softs are banking that there's going to be another safety car and they'll be able to make it on that same set as softs, but still, it is still anyone's game as we're just now getting to the halfway point of this Grand Prix, and man, hasn't it gone by quick.
It has definitely gone by quick, and now we're waiting on Master Plan to catch the safety car queue. I believe it will go in this time, at least this or next, not necessarily sure. Radicus is in the queue. He will have blue flags. He cannot unlap himself, so he will have to, I believe, actually, unless he is in the back of the train. No, he's not. He's actually ahead of the Alpha Tauri and a couple of other cars, I believe, from Heatwave on back. Safety car is in this lap, so I was correct with that, and I believe Master Plan may be going to be able to catch the safety car queue before it gets there, but it's going to be tight. But it's going to be up to this man. From one Aston Martin to the other, the safety car to Bosch Turbo, now it's going to be up to him. It is his discretion from now until the end, I believe, actually to the start-finish line itself. When does he go? Does he want to wait and let the slipstream, the ERS dumping, does he want to let that be up to chance? Or does he want to go at the last possible moment, like we saw a couple of days ago at the start-finish line? Well, he goes now. So the Aston Martin does leave up the chance with the slipstream of the safety car, and he actually catches No Limit with actually a decent start, to be fair, for the McLaren. 4/10 back down to the turn 1. It stays that way.
Is there a battle for both P4 and P6 going on between Mozzie for P4, Toneless and Chaos for P6? Seems like Walker Chaos has the better traction with the softs compared to the hards. Walker Chaos has already made up his move. Same with Wraith in the Red Bull. So it already seems like the guys on the softs are getting a move on.
Well, they have a long way to go. Can they make it there? They have about 18 laps done, 18 more to go. Heatwave gets past Toneless. Battle for 7th. The softs, like you said, are moving on now. That's how the third overtake from a soft driver. All 3 on the softs have been overtaken so far. Actually, have overtaken someone so far. The safety car restart in the span of 1 lap. Wraith on Mozzie, Chaos on Heatwave. Oh, no, sorry, Chaos on Toneless. And Toneless actually lost 2 positions, 1 to Heatwave, 1 to Chaos. But now it's time. Can Wraith catch to the back of Sweller, his championship rival, crucially, get on the podium, and can he pass No Limit and Gerbil? We'll have to find out. There's going to be enough time and plenty of laps. 18 left to go at the Dutch Grand Prix. We're closing in on, a fitting end to a season break so far. We'll be back on January 9th, by the way, if you are questioning about when we will return for the Italian Grand Prix. But right now, Wraith closing in the back of Sweller's team. Gerbil grabs the fastest lap on the ERS. No DRS for the Red Bull. The championship rivals, they start on the front row. Around the outside, Wraith will go through Tarzan. He'll hold it around the outside. A little bit of contact. Sweller holds it. Almost loses the car, but Wraith ahead of Sweller. But look at this. Crucially, Mozzie's now under pressure from the Haas of Walking Chaos into turn 3.
Yeah, and he's actually looking for a move. We saw this in Tier 3 between Potato and Goose Slayer. Goose Slayer looked for a move on Potato, and ultimately both of them DNF'd, and Walking Chaos thought better of it. Did not want to see a replica of that happening, but actually coming on the exit at turn 7, he's going to look for a move. He backs out of it, and he actually baits Mozzie. Now down on the inside, he's going to be able to hit the apex, but the outside traction will be better as they're going will to will in the turn 10. I prefer the outside lane as Mozzie cuts it in deep, and he actually clears the odds of Walking Chaos.
Well, here comes TTM Heatwave behind him in the Alpha Tauri. That invited him to that max as well. And I believe Toneless just let his teammate by tweaking. A shift at Ferrari, 9th to tweaking, and now 10th to Toneless. They swapped from a second ago. But now it's going to be down to can Wraith catch up to the back of No Limit. Remember, he's already dispatched 2 cars in just as many laps. Can he make it a third, and can he grab that lead? If he grabs the win, Sweller may be under pressure from possibly losing the championship lead. But here comes Walking Chaos on Mozzie again. Speaking of the championship lead, the constructors are not in play. 62 points is the gap between first and second. But around the outside, Walking Chaos, he'll get that pretty easily done. The softs compared to the medium cup on a tire. Well, Wraith and Chaos have been moving quickly.
Yeah, really, but once again, they're probably banking on the fact there's going to be another safety car, but it does not seem like they have the upper hand just yet, but still, nonetheless, they are moving quickly, and Wraith is already in the DRS of No Limit, so we already have ourselves a little train forming between the top 3.
I believe DRS is enabled this time if I'm not mistaken,
no,
so we may have a little bit of... It is this time, okay. So we're going to have a DRS train for the top 3. Sweller has a little bit of a gap to Walking Chaos, but that may not be for too long. Heatwave closing in on Mozzie. Mozzie may be overtaken from the Alpha Tauri. To the right hand, a little bit of contact, but down the inside into 11 they go. And the Alpha Tauri will grab the 6th position away from Mozzie in the Alfa Romeo. He'll now have to chase down Walking Chaos 1.7 seconds, but the DRS is active. Is No Limit close enough? No, he's not, but is Wraith close enough for third?
No, he is not. Still, nonetheless, he is chasing those front 2 down as Walking Chaos is the fastest lap with a 12-1. So it seems like the Haas is the fastest car on track, and he's already up to the rear gearbox of Sweller for P4. So it's not only Wraith catching these front 2, it's Walking Chaos and the Haas driver.
Well, let's see, can he try to overtake Sweller's team in the Alfa Romeo? Remember, he's on the hard compounded tires. Speaking of it, Bosch Gerbil and Toneless the other 2. Toneless let his teammate, by the way, which we kind of already talked about. But Bosch Gerbil is still holding off No Limit for first. And look at Chaos closing in through 7 again. Aggression over adhesion so far for the Haas. But he's trying his best to get past Sweller's team in the Ferrari-powered Alfa Romeo. Almost losing the car through 8 into 9 into 10. Now the DRS, the direct direction system, will be active for the Haas this time. He's not going to be close enough into 11.
Yeah, but for the battle for P2 between No Limit and Wraith is already on the rear gearbox. So Walking Chaos if Walking Chaos wants to have even a shot for this Grand Prix, he's going to have to get around Sweller's team and hope for another safety car.
Well, he has a chance now because Sweller's team does not have DRS. Well, Wraith has a little bit of a harder time with No Limit, who has DRS, but he's going to close into the back of the McLaren. They're harvesting energy. You see the blinking light on the McLaren already. Down the inside, the Red Bull goes. They're still going to go wheel to wheel. The soft, the mediums. Oh, Wraith almost loses the car. He does hit the wall. Does he have damage in the Red Bull? We'll have to find out. Not visually we can see. Sweller stays ahead of Chaos, by the way. Battle for 4th and 5th. And Wraith, once again, he needs to get a move on. He tried. Does he have damage this time?
Well, with that contact with the wall, knowing how sensitive this game is, I would not doubt that he does have damage. And going through 7, it does look like he has some format of damage, but still will not affect him. But we'll have to wait because that's the right-hand side corner. Walking Chaos is looking for a move on Sweller's team going in the turn 10 on the outside for lap car in the way. By the way, and actually Sweller's team does not have DRS, but Walking Chaos does. This is going to be down to going into the little chicane, and there's a little contact. Oh, actually there wasn't. That was the Williams of Radicus, as Walking Chaos is able to get up into P4, which will be significant for his Grand Prix.
Yes, it is. He now has 1.8 seconds to chase after Wraith. By the way, Master Plan went off at turn 9. He's now got back going again in the Aston Martin. He's going to close up. He's in 13th position. Walking Chaos breaks the slipstream from Sweller's team and will stay ahead, but now he has to look backwards. The Alpha Tauri is closing in on the Alfa Romeo. Well, how fast will he get by Sweller's team? He put up a fight on Walking Chaos. Will he do the same for the Alpha Tauri of Heatwave? We'll have to find out. Wraith's kind of been level at 1.5 seconds. And by the way, No Limits dropped off a bit, 1.4 seconds. And around, I believe that is going to be Groggy Oregano at turn 1. And he's going to get back going again in the Alpine.
Yes, Mozzie in the Alfa Romeo is actually, for a front wing change on the softs. So it does seem like his Grand Prix is essentially over as long as there isn't a safety car. But a safety car is what Rafe needs because he does have wing damage for a fact because Walking Chaos is indeed closing the gap significantly and quickly.
Well, that's going to be crucial is how much damage does he have, especially at the downforce dependent circuit, especially like here at the Dutch Grand Prix. The amount of downforce that he has taken away, yellow flag again, that's going to be Master Plan out of the race. Could we see a safety car?
There it is.
We do. That has saved Wraith. Does Gerbil come into pit? He does, looking like it. Yes, he will. Off the hards. Who stays out? Wraith comes in at the last moment. Does Chaos stay out, or does he come in? Remember, these softs are going to be crucial. He goes in, and everyone follows in with him. Sweller's team, Heatwave.
Silva stays out.
Matt Silva has stayed out. He is on 8-lap-old medium compounded tires with 3 seconds of time penalty, which you can see that now. And by the way, other than maybe the car, this is kind of the same thing as what we saw yesterday in Tier 3. Now, isn't it?
Yeah, I was about to point that out, but instead of you in the Alfa Romeo chasing down the Alpine, it's going to be Bunch Gerbil and the Aston Martin. But still, nonetheless, somewhat of what we saw last night, mediums versus new softs, it's going to be down to who has the better, at least, battery, in my opinion.
It's going to be pretty much battery dump central down every straightaway, in the words of Taylor Clan. But we're going to have a lot of racing yet to go. Lap 25, we have completed 24, 12 laps to go. It's going to be how fast can the leaders of Gerbil, No Limit, Wraith, can they clear Matt Silva? As we saw last night, it is not as easy as it sounds. And ironically, it was another Alpine that was in Matt's shoes. It was Kieran Evans. Well, how fast can Matt hold them behind? Can they do it? Well, we saw Kieran Evans defend like a lion and overtake and stay ahead for a numerous amount of laps, which I already said so far this Grand Prix numerous times. Can we see Matt do it? He was already in the top 3. Remember, he qualified 3rd. He was, I'm sorry, in the top 5 at least. I'm not exactly sure about the positions. We can see right now. Up 6 positions. I'm sorry, up 2 positions. So he started 3rd. I was right the first time. Why do I doubt myself? I'm just the best. Gerbil up 6 positions. No Limit up 4. Down 3 from Wraith. Down 1 from Chaos. 4 from Sweller. 8 up from Heatwave from 15th on the grid. Remember, he was disqualified from the session and qualifying for spinning at the exit of turn 1 and blocking the pit lane. Tweaking up 6 positions. He started 14th. Chunky down 3. Toneless and Groggy both up 2. Mozzie down 7 positions. And Radicus down 4.
Oh, I believe that's just Rafe just at least sticking on the inside, making sure that no one hits him, then he's able to weave his tires properly. Without having any doubts, I thought that was someone spun around, but anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see how Matt Silva defends Aston Martin and Bosch Gerbil. My iconic saying when it comes to defending, just park it on the apex, really. That's the best thing you can do, and just hope that you're able to stack the guys up behind you, and they start battling of their own.
That's going to be the strategy for Matt Silva, because remember, he needs a 3-second gap to stay ahead. With that 3-second time penalty, Radicus will come in to stop. He was, by the way, a lapped car, and the safety car let him through, so thankfully he grabbed his lap back. He's now going to use that, I guess, delta and the advantage he has right now to the safety car to come in and stop, and he is on the lead lap once again, and he'll try to catch up to the back of the safety car queue. But for him, he wants it to stay out another lap. Will it?
With Radicus in the pit lane for the softs, actually, Radicus is actually back on the lead lap, and the safety car is actually in this lap.
Yeah, that's not what Radicus needed. So he will be a little bit behind. He's going through turn 4 into 5 in a few seconds' time, and everyone else is going through turn 11 and 12. So he will not have a chance unless there is another safety car. By the way, safety car delta lap, which cannot come out after that, is 3 and 5 second time penalty for Matt Silva and Bosch Gerbil. Collision under safety car. Matt Silva's gone.
Yeah, they're actually going.
Oh, no! They didn't wait for the safety car to come in. They had to check up. Matt Silva spun around at turn 14. Gerbil has a 5-second time penalty. And now look at this. Wraith and Chaos side by side into turn 1. Wraith in the inside, Chaos on the outside. Sweller's team looking for the move. And it's going to be Wraith ahead of Chaos, ahead of Sweller's team. But Matt Silva goes around. Bart Gerbil with a 5-second time penalty. And could we see another penalty for a safety car infringement to the Alpine of Matt Silva? We'll have to figure it out. And everyone in the top 15, in the top 10, barring Mozzie and 11th, are on the soft compound tire.
Note that Bart Gerbil has a 5-second time penalty for the safety car incident. I believe he'll probably try and get that removed, but nonetheless, that's going to put No Limit into the lead at the end of this Grand Prix, P2 and Walking Chaos P3. So that's your podium for the time being. So it's going to be really interesting to see how quickly Rafe can get ahead of No Limit and set his sights on Bart Gerbil. Same thing can be said for Walking Chaos.
That's going to be one thing to look out for. So we already seen the aggression between these two, third and fourth. Both drivers are extremely aggressive but extremely quick. So is Wraith going to be more focused behind or forward? We'll have to figure that one out. As lap 26, we have done 26. We're on lap 27, 10 laps to go. Wraith is pressurizing the McLaren of No Limit. The lower line through turn 14. Going to grab the slingshot of the exit. Gerbil, the fastest out of the Grand Prix. He's 2 seconds in front of No Limit. And the McLaren right down the inside shoves No Limit onto the grass. But he'll get ahead, and look at this. Walking Chaos defends from Sweller's team in the Alfa Romeo. He stays fourth, Sweller's team fifth, but No Limit's down to third.
Yeah, I believe that was a little bit of tension shown between Wraith and No Limit. Because if you do remember going into turn 1, Wraith actually spun off of No Limit. So maybe is that a little bit of aggression or anger shown to the McLaren of No Limit? And that essentially just pushed him off, and there's no opposition for the Red Bull of Wraith. Now he has his sights set on Bart Gerbil.
2.1 seconds is going to be crucial for him to catch it as close as he can. And Bart Gerbil may try to get that 5-second time penalty removed because he
waves off.
Got it under safety car. Heat wave is off. That is not turn 7 this time. That is turn 10. No damage to the Alpha Tauri. Did he hit the curb or did he have help?
From what I could say, I think he lost traction, but I am not sure, as Bart Gerbil is actually growing his gap a little bit between himself and Rafe, so it does not seem like that Rafe has the central pace advantage that he used to have at the start of this Grand Prix.
Well, there's enough time for him to catch it if he does have it, but it's going to be an all-out push. No tire saving necessary for the Dutch Grand Prix here in the Breakout Racing League Tier 2 Championship. Bart Gerbil hasn't won since France. He's been close numerous times. He wants to grab that win going into the break. That'll be a great send-off. BRL Wraith wants the championship lead. Right now he'll have it. He have 18 points to his name, barring the fastest lap, which, by the way, goes at the moment to Bart Gerbil as well. He'll have 26 points to his name. But Wraith will grab the championship lead. He has 18 points. Swiller has 10. That'll put the gap 2 points to the favor of the Red Bull going into the break. Well, that's not what Sweller's team wants. He's going to have a lot of time to go get for it, but 3/10 back from Walking Chaos. There's a little bit of a train behind this man and the McLaren. No Limit in third. See who gets the advantage of it. DRS for both the Haas and the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it seems like Wraith has broken the DRS. That's actually Heat Wave gone off once again, so it goes from bad to worse for the AlphaTauri driver. But seems like Walking Chaos, if he gets a good exit through 13 and 14, he's going to easily clear No Limit.
Especially the battery advantage. Look at him already blinking. The harvesting in the back of that McLaren shows that he's harvesting energy. The DRS, the slipstream, the ERS deployment, and the Haas is going to be up into third position of the Dutch Grand Prix. And look at this. No Limit's going to fight back, but he's not going to be close enough. He doesn't have the battery for it. He may have the time. Does he have the pace to catch up to Walking Chaos? He's going to have a chance.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, especially when these tires actually start to go through the grading phase. Everyone on this grid, except for Matt Silva, will actually be going through this grading phase, essentially at the same time, really. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see about who deals with their grading phase the best.
Wraith actually closed in a bit to Bart Gerbil in front of him. It was about 2.7 seconds not too long ago. He's now back up to 3.1. A little bit of contact between Sweller's team and No Limit into turn 10. Sweller's team itching to get past the McLaren. He's a buffer between him and possibly a podium position right now, because Wraith, every moment that No Limit's behind him, Wraith gets a little bit farther away from Sweller's team and possibly out of reach to get past him and keep his championship lead going into the break.
Yeah, but speaking of Sweller's team, he's easily going to have the advantage over No Limit. No Limit has no battery, but Sweller does. But it seems like everyone that's... Oh, that's actually a little bit of lag. Excuse me. I thought that was No Limit going off as they're still going wheel to wheel going on turn 2. We saw the result of it earlier. Will we see the same thing? No, we do not. Is actually No Limit actually pushes Sweller's team off a little bit. He actually defends really good. When I said turn 3, gets a bit of oversteer. Now going into 4. Now into 5. Will Sweller still be on the inside going into 7? We do not want to see the outcome of this one. And No Limit is still there. Are they going to be going wheel to wheel the whole lap? No! No Limit's on the grass. Sweller hits the curb. No Limit's looking for a dive. And Sweller's team's able to get ahead. Fantastic racing between the two.
It was incredible racing between those two drivers through, I believe, 5 corners straight. And it was incredible racing to see. Sweller gets past No Limit to 4th and now 5th, relegated to that position for the McLaren. But look at this. Chaos is closing in on Wraith, who's fallen back 3.6 seconds now to Boss Gerbil in front of him. 3-second time penalty to Chunky Snags, and the Williams driver, he now has a 3-second time penalty added to the end of his race time for multiple warnings and track extensions. That now puts 3 drivers on the grid with penalties, a 5-second for Gerbil and 2 3-seconds, 1 for Chunky and 1 for Matt Silva. But we now have 5 laps to go of the Dutch Grand Prix for the Breakout Racing League Tier 2 Championship for round 13 of 24. The fight is on. The time is ticking. Can Chaos get past Wraith? This helps Sweller's team because that would only limit the gap gained to about 5 points, which it would actually help out Sweller's team in the championship.
Yeah, I definitely believe that Wraith has damage because especially now when they're really starting the grading phases, Walking Chaos actually set a purple sector 1, so his pace is really starting to kick in now. Seems like he was the one that just tires the best, even though it did not look like it, at least between himself and Wraith. When it looks like it, excuse me. But coming out of 10 now with the little DRS straight, it seems like Walking Chaos is only inching closer and closer and closer, and knowing how quickly these laps tick down, it must feel like an eternity for Wraith.
It must feel like an eternity indeed, because there's still about 5 more laps to go. 4 as we cross the strike. Boss Gerbil's going to cross our line in about a few seconds' time. Now 6/10 now is the gap between Wraith and Chaos. And right now, as it stands, I saw the chat, and I may actually agree with it right now. At the moment, as it stands, 4.2 seconds. Gerbil may not actually have to get his 5-second time penalty removed, but Chaos is charging in. If Wraith does have damage, Chaos is trying to eat at that at the best possible chance he can through every DRS zone. He's getting closer, but the dirty air, like you said, as Groggy gets passed by Mozzie, now 9th and 10th, respectively, for Mozzie and Groggy Oregano, but has every chance that gets passed, as Walking Chaos cannot get past on the straightaway. The dirty air, like you said earlier, is going to kill that Haas's chance of getting close to Boss Gerbil and the Aston Martin.
Yeah, really, it's going to be this straight or never, at least in my opinion, when it comes to Walking Chaos, even being in the 5-second range in himself, and that is actually sector 1, that's heat wave out. Probably hit the curb coming out of 2 and hit the outside. Oh!
That can't stay out for long because they had to have 2 laps straight of green flag racing. So much for that 4.2 second gap, which is now at 6.9. So they will have to come in on lap 34. So it's going to have a 1-lap safety car. We saw this last time we were here at Holland in the Dutch Grand Prix. We saw a chaotic finish. Gerbil comes in. He's going to serve the 5-second time penalty. Why has he done that? Wraith stays out. Chaos stays out.
Everyone's going to
stay out. That's going to put Gerbil behind him. Everyone's staying out.
Gerbil dropped the ball. We saw this to Tier 4, James B, actually. It seems like when the leader, it seems like every time something happens when it comes to someone behind them or even something with the safety car, it seems like they panic and they just drop the ball usually. And Botch Gerbil's in P7 and he won't really have that much of a pace advantage. He threw this race away.
I believe he has, because now he's served that 5-second time penalty as well, and now he's in 7th, and there's not going to be DRS, crucially, to help him out. So there's a chance Wraith has now been given this victory, but if he has front wing damage like we so hypothesize, what can Chaos do? What can Sweller do? No limits in this fight. He'll have a chance to recharge his battery. Tweaking's in this fight. He's in 5th. Toneless 6th. Gerbil has a chance at 7th if Chaos happens. What can happen with 2 laps to go? We saw it a season ago. It definitely did happen. 64 milliseconds is the proof.
Yeah, really, a driver that I really give credit for is P11 of Radicus' safety car is actually in the slap, and Matt Silva is actually retired in the pit lane. So Radicus better hurry and get himself in the pack before the safety car does go if he wants any shot at even points.
Well, now it's going to be at the nature and the discretion of Wraith in the Red Bull. If he has damage, he's going to want to go at the least possible time. Chaos wants to go now. He wants to be ready. He wants to overtake this man in the Red Bull, almost putting him in the barriers there through 14, weaving. Now, right now, it's going to be how close. Whoa, Wraith almost lost the car. That's going to back everyone up again, and he gone. Wraith goes, Chaos goes. They're going to be almost 3 wide going into turn 1. Chaos looking to the outside, Sweller down the inside. Just not close enough. Around the outside, Chaos is going to go. If he can grab this move, it'll be incredible. Contact into the wall, 3 wide. Sweller's in the lead now. Where did he come from? Wraith to second, No Limit to third, fourth to Chaos. So Sweller ahead of No Limit, yellow flag. Mozzie's around and out of the Grand Prix as well in 11th. Now puts Groggy into points position. Radicus ahead of Chunky Snags. Chaos has definitely happened in tier 2. Wraith and Chaos side by side into turn 7. Contact made. Wraith almost spins around. Gerbil gets past him into 4th. Look at this. Tweaking's looking for the move. It has happened, and it has definitely been chaotic as well. Look at that. Tweaking now past Wraith. Toneless down the inside. Wraith has lost everything. Tweaking has gone past him now. Toneless has gone past him now. Chaos, look at Dutch Gerbil is fighting with Walking Chaos. Wheel-to-wheel contact made. These two, Gerbil may get a podium out of this.
But still not the win. It was actually contact once again. It seems like Walking Chaos is driving essentially with just frustration right now, knowing that him and Wraith has made contact. Now we're on the final lap. We're coming to the final lap of this Grand Prix. Sponge Gerbil's at the P3 as Wraith is actually down in the P9. He definitely has damage now. And Radicus is in P7. What a recovery drive from that man.
Yes, it is an incredible recovery drive for Radicus. He's now up to 7th. Look at this down the inside of Tarzan. He goes, tweaking on Chaos, looking for the move. The Ferrari on the Haas. Not close enough this time. Oh, contact. Tweaking's around. He's now going to be out of this as well. He'll get 10th position if he can get on back on track and retain position. He has. But Sweller's team has 5 tenths to No Limit. Gerbil's going to grab a podium after this because there is nothing that can take that away. His 5 seconds have been served in the pit lane. Chunky Snags has a 3-second time penalty, so Wraith may actually grab 7th after all. Wow.
Wow, I still can't get over what just happened now. Now, No Limit really has one more chance, and in my opinion, he's not even close enough. If Dutch Gerbil did not box even with that P3, I believe he would have been P1. But now going through the chicane for the final time, No Limit is just sending it, and I believe it's just all but done for.
Well, Sweller's team, this man, he had so much chaos to go through. This man, the Canadian, he's leading the championship by 6 points. Well, he's going to lead by a lot more now. Sweller's team will win the Dutch Grand Prix at the line. 29 milliseconds separates No Limit from Botch Gerbil. It's gotten even closer from a season ago. He grabs the fastest lap and will grab the podium. Oh, so close. It was almost 2nd place for the Canadian. 4th for Walking Chaos. What could have been? Toneless Death 5th. Radicus up to 6th. Chunky Snack 7th. Wraith 8th. What could have been for him? He was leading going in to the last safety car, the 2 laps of the Grand Prix. Wow, what a finish.
Wow. Have you ever?
No, I have never.
Finally, Minico, if you heard that, that's how you do it.
And actually, ironically, it is the 1 season anniversary from when I said it to Echo.
Yeah, truly. Ironic, really. Just what a fantastic finish.
It was an incredible finish, and this man is probably going to be grinning from ear to ear. If only we could hear him. Hopefully we have that chance eventually this season. We may actually hear from him today, but this Canadian on the top step of the podium, Sweller's team got the best he could. No Limit grabs 2nd place, and Botch Gerbil, after pitting, and from 7th to 3rd in 2 laps, he's on the podium again. A double Canadian podium with No Limit in 2nd. But wow, 6 points going in was the championship lead between Sweller and BRL Wraith. It's a lot more now. Wraith will grab 4 points. Sweller will grab 25. That puts the gap now to 27 points. Before the break, the 2 weeks will come back on January 9th, and this man in the Alfa Romeo has a lot of work to do, but can he stay in front? 11 more races to go. No Limit in 2nd place from 7th on the grid. Well, he'll take a podium. He splits the two Canadians. Bosch Gerbil, like we said, started 8th and was 7th with 2 laps to go. He grabs a podium position out of this, but it could have been a win. Walking Chaos 4th, Toneless Death 5th, Radicus 6th, Chunky Snack 7th. Wraith was leading. He got pole. It just did not play well at turn 1 into Tarzan. It was all chaotic going on the final 2 laps. Tweaking 9th. Groggy Regano grabs a points playing position. Fastest lap to Bosch Gerbil in 3rd, with Mozzie, Matt Silva, Heatwave, Masterplane, and DeBiz for the Dutch Grand Prix classified.
Whew, wow. As now we're just waiting for everyone to get in the party, really.
Whew. We need a cooldown room for the commentators.
Yeah, we really do. Are we about to interview some ghosts real quick?
We'll see. If we don't have any podium interviews for you tonight, well, we sincerely apologize, but we'll have a send-off fitting of it regardless. But if we do have P3, it'll be Bosch Gerbil, and Zach will take them away when we get here. Let's see if they will join.
I completely forgot that New England was playing, and I turn on, and the score is 17-0. I'm done.
Oh.
I give up. I give up. I need to turn on the TV. I'm even scared to look at the stat line.
Which team is leading by 17?
The Colts?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, I'm scared to see that stat line, like, honestly. Oh, I gotta find it real quick.
Okay. You didn't invite him. Let me actually invite them.
Well, it wouldn't let me invite him anyway. I should have said that earlier, but it wouldn't let me. I figured that you would have it. But now we just really wait.
It's all right. Bosch Gerbil, we'll get him in. No Limit will not join, and Swillow's team probably will not as well. So I believe it will just be this man and the Aston Martin. And Zach, I'll let you have your fun. Go watch New England absolutely choke the ball against the Colts. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. But you said that you take it away, right?
Yeah, I'll go. You have some fun.
Yes. I go off. Woo!
All right. So make sure your box is included because you were the only one tonight.
Oh, wow.
You get a completely, I guess it's a 101 kind of interview now, I guess. So make sure your box is clicked when I go to you. So, P3. And, obviously your race, it's definitely, it had a lot of pace. You led a lot of laps, and you had a really good chance for the win. But I have to ask you, what went through your mind, that final safety car? Why'd you come into pit?
So I actually had a 5-second penalty. I just tapped Matt Silva on the restart of the safety car previous. And I knew if I stayed out with the 5-second, I'd lose more positions than if I pit and made them back up. And I just had a killer 2 laps there and was able to make up like 5 positions with those fresh softs. I felt like everyone was just driving go-karts when I was driving a real car. So it was quite fun the last 2 laps. But yeah, kind of chucked away the win today with that 5-second.
Well, it was definitely chaotic, and that's something that, honestly, myself and Zach did not expect you to go from 7th to 3rd, but definitely a welcome surprise, to say the least. So welcome and congratulations on your podium. And usually this is what I would say, how do you think you are for Monza or something? But you have 2 weeks. You come back on the 9th of January for the Italian Grand Prix. So let's have some fun. Let's have a merry all send-off. What are you doing for the Christmas, New Year's, holidays, etc.? What you doing? What you got?
I'm just hanging out. My birthday's actually tomorrow, and then got family coming over from overseas for Christmas, so just gonna hang out and enjoy the break.
Well, a happy early birthday to you, and definitely a merry off-season, I guess you could say, and a happy holidays to you.
Yeah, you as well.
All right. So, thank you, and congratulations on your podium once again from myself, Hey Catcher in the booth, with Zach the Beast joined us. Obviously, he's now going to watch New England absolutely, throw away their chance of a good season, losing 17-0 against the Colts. But don't go anywhere if you like Formula One racing. In about 30 minutes' time, you get to see Tier 1 and the street, I guess, see what they can do around the Circuit Park Zandvoort and the Dutch Grand Prix for the Tier 1 Championship, round 13 of 24. You get to see Miniko, you get to see Bailey, you get to see Raptor, you get to see Neymar, you get to see Cookie, you get to see Chandler, Hoopalicious, Ferrari Nut, and many, many more. Come listen to myself and Mitchie bring you the action from the Dutch Grand Prix for the Tier 1 Championship. And if you don't like Formula 1, that is completely fine. We have ACC on tomorrow, on Sunday, and on Monday for Tier 1 and Tier 2. We'll bring you the action live there, so get your fix in. And this is where I usually would say we'll come back and bring it all back around full circle on Wednesday for Formula 2, but we won't. We'll be on break. So have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year's, and we'll see you in January for round 14 of the Breakout Racing League Championship for all tiers. But for now, from myself, Hey Ketchra, and the Tier 2 Championship, we say goodbye and thank you for tuning in to this chaotic race.